Well, that's right. That's tofu. Today, we're all in. The Redneck BBQ Lab is going vegetarian. Hey folks, I'm Jerry Stevenson. I am the Chief Redneck in Charge at the Redneck BBQ Lab, McGee's Crossroad in Benson, North Carolina. And I am here today to show you one of my guilty pleasures. That's right, it's tofu. Believe it or not. Before I get into this video and explain what I'm talking about, one of my guilty pleasures is in terms of tofu and some of the other soy-based products, I would like for you to go right now and like this video. Subscribe to our channel if you're not already a subscriber. Click on that notification bell so you're notified when we premiere these videos or when we do go live on some of these videos. Every now and then we'll just throw it up, start going live, bloopers and all, cussing and everything else. So we do go live, so click on that bell. Share this with your friends. We're doing this for you guys. We're not doing it for me. I hate talking on this camera. I really do. I have a self-image problem. It might not seem like it, but I really do. And we're doing it for y'all. We're just trying to do you guys some kind of energy to get you out there with your family, your friends, your kids, your significant other, your wife, whomever. Get out there and start creating some dishes. Do it for yourself to share with others. Do it with others or your family safely now. Together and share it with one another, conversation, and just to create something in your own hands I think is really cool. Above all, leave us your comments as to what you thought about this recipe I'm getting ready to share with you. Be nice. Be nice, a couple of my meat eater friends, be nice. And let us know some suggestions as to what you would like us to do in the future. A lot of this stuff comes from suggestions from you guys saying, hey, how about doing something that, you know, my partner can't eat, can't eat meat, but we like to do something barbecue. So it's like, cool, all right, well, we'll figure something out. We'll do something. We'll make a lot of mistakes to come up with something that we think is pretty cool to share with you guys. So like I said, leave the suggestions. So let's get into this. Why is this one of my guilty pleasures? The thing is I eat a lot of meat. I'm a carnivore. I'm omnivore really, but I eat a lot of meat, and it's one of the facts that just sometimes taking a break and stepping back from eating meat is kind of a refreshing thing to not only my mind and my body, but the fact that it opens my mind up to different stuff. Everybody gets stuck in ruts sometimes about what we eat, Italian, Chinese, and American stuff. And a lot of times we forget that some of the most simplistic things that we can cook can be some of the best dishes together. And that's where this came from. We have done this several times in the lab. This is a different recipe than what we do in the lab for our catering. This is one that I did. I kind of created using a little science and some stuff and made some mistakes. But it's something that I find, it doesn't replace a rib, a pork rib or a beef rib, but there's something that, like I said, it's just something that I can tuck into. It gives me something different that makes me feel like, wow, this is something new that I've created, new experiences and stuff like that. So that's where this came from. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into this recipe. What we're using today is this tofu, and tofu, as most folks that know what tofu is a soy-based product. It's a pressed product that's held together. It comes in a liquid, and the liquid's just to basically keep it in there for a kind of a preservative. The tofu that I'm using today is not one that I endorse or anything. It was just the one that they had. It's non-GMO, and one of the things I always do too, like when I start looking at ingredients of stuff, just cornstarch, this oil that I'm using today, even though it doesn't say vegan on it, I've looked at it, it's got 3 different types of oil and a silicone just to keep it from caking. Our Redneck BBQ Lab all-purpose seasoning, it's all spices, it's like all natural. So it's something that's not going to kind of cross that border of not being vegan for folks. And this is one of the ones that I found and it's like, hey, this is cool. So this is what you want to find is some extra firm tofu. At the lab, the way that we do it is different than this. This is how we start out doing it, but at the lab, I'll try to tell you guys how we do it at the lab and then how I'm gonna do it here today in the RBL studios for you guys to be able to do it at home. So first thing I wanna do is I wanna take this tofu, and basically what I do is I cut it in half and then I go in and cut it into quarters. Just basically, so the pieces kind of, look, these are our are ribs. And you can cut them thinner if you like. It just depends. When we go to do this process is I find this is about perfect for me because we're gonna put rub on the outside and we're gonna end up saucing these and smoke to give these flavor. The tofu doesn't have a lot of flavor. It's a very neutral flavored product. But the other thing about tofu is it is like a sponge. It will take in whatever, marinades, smoke, salt. Be careful. It will just soak that salt in. You'll be like, it'll turn your jaws if you put too much on it. So it's a very good canvas to be able to work with. And I know my meat eaters are like, whatever, but pay attention. Stay to the end. Try this. Heck, I'll make it for you and you can try it. But what we do with this recipe is I put it onto, you guys know I love pans and I love these cooling racks that we use. You can find them at supermarket stores. You can find them at the supply houses. You find them online at the Amazons and stuff like that, pretty much everywhere. And I love these to cook with. I go ahead and I'll do a whole pack of this firm tofu. At the lab, we like to take this and we'll put this on the rack. And then on top of this, we will take a pan and put a pan with some weight on it and another pan to kind of make this sandwich. This will sit inside of a pan. And then we'll take another pan with some weight on it to press down to get some of the moisture. Because like I said, this is a sponge and there's a lot of moisture in this. So we'll kind of press it down and that kind of condenses things and makes it hard. So when it goes to the smoker, it'll kind of softens up and allow some of the stuff to come into it. You know, as you take out moisture, it'll suck moisture back in. So that's the process we do at the lab. Here today, we're going to do a different method that I've done. Is I've gone ahead and knocked some together real quick for you guys before we started this video. Is I go ahead and cut some of them up and then, forgive me, I take them and put them into the freezer. These have been in the freezer for about, I don't know, hour or so. They're firm. Kind of a pun, extra firm tofu. But you can see the outside texture on these are hard and it's kind of solidified. And these I found just about an hour, hour and a half in the smoker. It's about perfect for this recipe. So once I've got these like this, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to take some oil. This is where vegan-wise, you have your oil that you prefer. This is what I use, even though this doesn't say vegan on it. Like I said, we've gone on the back of this, we've looked at the label and everything else, and it's there. So you can use whichever oil you prefer. You could use water on this to do this step if you'd like, but I like using oil. So we're going to give this just a quick spray. I'm going to flip it over. And I'll be able to catch, should have flipped these over before. I actually had these over before, let you know, and they kind of fell over like a house of cards when I was walking to set the stage up today. Yeah, I set my own stage up. I don't have a crew, no grips or anybody like that. Me and Mr. Mike Baker here with Event Webcasting, who's putting this on. Yeah, we're solo. All right, give this a little quick spray. One more flip. Hit the edges as well. Quick spray, quick spray, quick spray, quick spray. Beautiful. Next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to make my rub. Make your rub, you say. You just said you have the Redneck BBQ Lab all-purpose seasoning that you can find right down here on our website, theredneckbbqlab.com/findoursauce. Click on there, you can hit the, put in your zip code, search radius, and it will tell you where our rubs and our spices are at, conveniently located to you. And if they're not conveniently located to you, you can go to some of the purveyors on there and they will ship. As well as we have someone, I believe, on Amazon now doing the shipping. Let you guys know a little later on, we will be doing some in-house shipping, so stay tuned on that. We're just kind of in the infancy stage of doing that. So I'm going to make a rub, and anybody that knows me from competition knows that I use this on everything, but I do tweak it. Tweak it, how do you say, Jerry, you tweak it, but it's great right out of the bottle. Or why do you tweak it if it's so great out of the bottle? Well, this is why I tweak it. Certain recipes call for maybe certain stuff like a little bit more sugar to help with some of the browning process. Certain recipes may call for a little bit of spice, like something, if I was doing a Thai dish or something where I'd want to put a bit more cayenne or something in. Some dishes require a bit more salt. Some things need more salt than others to taste better, and I may put a little bit more salt in that. And that's why I tweak my own rubs and spices. I vary these levels of intensity and flavor to create a different spice combination for each and everything that I do sometimes. So this is one of those recipes that I do it. So we got that in. This is cornstarch, straight up cornstarch. We're going to add a teaspoon of cornstarch. Normally, anybody that knows me, I would weigh this out for proportions. We are the scientific part of the name, the Redneck BBQ Lab, came from the word, the competition barbecue team called Redneck Scientific, where we weigh out water. We don't do volume. We don't do, quart of this or cup of that. We do volume. I will then take this, cover it. Very important. I have no idea how many times I've just started shaking this stuff before and pop goes the weasel. Give it a good shake. Knock off that which came out. And there we go. So we're gonna go ahead and season this with the Redneck BBQ Lab all-purpose seasoning. And you can see why it's important to coat this with a little bit of oil. A little bit of oil is going to help it out too as well. Trust me on that. Now, one of the things that I will kind of advise you about is you can add more seasoning to your food, and more seasoning is something you're cooking. It's hard to take it off once you do it. So I'm doing what I would call a light seasoning on this. When we apply the rub, or excuse me, we are applying the rub. When we apply the sauce to this, the sauce component, which is in the kind of the next couple of steps you'll see after we put this on, you can always taste one of these, because every chef, every cook needs to taste what they're cooking before they serve it to their guests. And you can add spice on top of the sauce, which is, well, to let you guys know, it's a lot of the things that I do to change the flavors of my food too, as well in competition cooking that we do. So, give this a light rub. And I've told you folks before, tell you again about these pans that I use. I like these racks inside the pans. I like the pans for mess. It's easier to clean up. I can just wrap this aluminum foil and throw it away. If you're eco-conscious about this aluminum foil being a bad thing, no problem. Just use the pan, wash it, it's fine. It's just one of the things that I do, kind of out of habit. One of the things about these pans, and if you can see, they have legs. I don't know if we can zoom in on that and get these legs, but when we put these in a sheet, it allows an air gap under here. So when we cook and we've got this smoke rolling in our smoker and it's rolling like this, it will actually come underneath your product. The underneath of your product will get smoked just like the top will and the sides. So that's why I cook with these in a pan. Just one of the little pro tips. If you cook in a regular pan and you don't have one of these baking wraps, you will have to flip these about halfway through the cooking process to kind of create that even color all the way around. And it's very important because the cornstarch component of this that I put in there is actually going to create a little bit of texture for these tofu ribs. Tofu is mushy, but this is going to give it a little bit of texture. Basically, the texture will be kind of like skin. And I don't mean skin like chicken skin, I mean skin like you're eating a nectarine and you bite into that nectarine, there's that resistance and you go through that nectarine and all of a sudden it just kind of silkiness so that inside fruit comes out. That's what I'm talking about skin-wise, so let's be clear about that. So folks, there you go. That's how I prep first stage of my barbecue tofu ribs, vegan barbecue tofu ribs. Next thing we want to do is we want to put these into a smoker, probably 275 for about 45 minutes. We're going to get these up to a nice color. When we get these up to a nice color, we're going to put some sauce back in and put them back into the smoker until the sauce sets. That means basically it goes from a wet to a tacky surface on top of these. And at that time, we're going to pull them off the smoker and bring them in. Probably about an hour cook time. But we're going to go ahead, we're going to take these, throw these into the smoker that we've got rolling downstairs. We're going to use our Traeger grill, awesome grill. for doing this. We've got it 275. We've got our blend of cherry, hickory, and maple in there rolling right now. It'll smell wonderful and probably taste wonderful on this, you can bet that. So let's take these down to the smoker and get them on, and let's get cooking. All right, folks, we got our Traeger grill on here. We've got it going with some cherry, hickory, and maple pellets. That's the blend that I like in this. I do a third, and a third. Love this Traeger grill for doing my vegetables and proteins. Really easy to use. It's basically like turn it on, let it get up smoking, put your stuff on, have at it. So we're gonna go ahead, this grill's nice and hot. We'll go ahead and put on our tofu and leave it on for probably about 45 minutes. And then after about 45 minutes, we're gonna come back, check on it. If it's the right color and consistency, we're gonna go ahead and apply some sauce to it, let that sauce set, and then we're gonna take it upstairs and we're gonna eat some. So see you guys in about 45 minutes. Welcome back, folks. We're in the kitchen now. We just pulled off these vegan barbecue tofu ribs, and we're ready to put our sauce on them. The sauce that we're going to use today is our original, the competition sauce that we use, not only in competition in KCBS all across the nation. We use this in the Redneck BBQ Lab as well. It's a sweet sauce. It's got a little bit of a savioriness, savory, I can't even say the word, but it's got a little pop to it. Sweet, but got a little pop to it. So let's go ahead, we'll sauce these up real quick. It's a thin sauce, so it can be applied. This is once again why I like these pans. I've said it before. I like these pans to be able to do this with. All my mess falls to the bottom and I can throw them away. Whereas if I had just a regular pan, I'd have to do some dishes a little later, which is not a bad thing, but I kind of, I do this in competition. It saves us time, and time a lot of times in competition means it's the difference between winning and losing. With you guys, it might be the difference between angry child or spouse or significant other. So another thing that you could do that I like doing is I'll actually dunk these. I'll get a cup sometimes and dunk these in them to be able to get this sauce on them. Barbecue is a labor of love. If you go too fast, you're probably not doing it right. So it's one of the things I always say when you're cooking barbecue, especially at home. Murphy's Law runs the barbecue world, so anything that can go wrong will go wrong in terms of a cook. And at home, it's the same thing. If anything can go wrong, I'll always do it 30 minutes before your party, right? Or your barbecue or birthday party or whatever you're doing. But a lot of times my sister and myself, we always laugh. It's like, do we have a good cook is probably the number one thing someone asks after we've completed our turn-ins in competition. And my sister and myself, we always laugh when we've had some kind of error or it's been a especially hard cook because we run into issues or problems. That's usually when we do our best. Usually that's when we produce our best barbecue. So let me say things like that at home for you guys. All right. So there we go. We've got a nice little coat of barbecue sauce on these vegan barbecue tofu ribs. The last thing I like to do is I like to hit them with a little bit of seasoning. Once again, just a little bit on top. This is our chicken and rib rub seasoning. Add a little color, add a little pop to it there at the end, a little bit of salt, a little bit of crispiness. Let's go ahead and throw these back on the smoker, folks. Probably about 10, 15 minutes. Our smoker's running hot right now. We jacked it up to about 300 degrees. So it probably gonna take 5, 10 minutes on there. Tighten these things up and we'll see you guys soon right back here at the table to see how we did. All right, folks, it's been about an hour on these ribs. It's a humid day in North Carolina, and barbecue, like we've always said, is an imperfect science. Well, today, they weren't quite ready. So we had to give ourselves a little bit of extra time to do this, as well as we cranked the heat up a little bit more to try to get that firmness on the outside, that skin I was talking about. So let's see how we did. Oh yeah, you can see right now you can see they're starting to brown, and they'll actually, that's about as brown as they'll get, but you can see the edges right here. The edges are starting to turn this little crispiness. Matter of fact, they look good right now, but I know they need that extra little bit of sauce on them. Trust me, a little bit of extra sauce, a little bit extra rub on it, and these things will be spectacular. So we're gonna run these back upstairs into the kitchen. We're gonna put sauce on them, put a little bit more rub, throw them back in the smoker, finish them off. Stay tuned. All right, folks, welcome back. We got these vegan tofu ribs off the smoker after we had put some sauce on them, and after we put a little bit more rub, we let it set. And by set, that I mean that the rub and everything's kind of adhered to the top, and it's not where it gets all over your hands and comes off. That's what I mean by setting the sauce on these ribs. But let's recap and tell you folks how we got to this point right here. We took some extra firm tofu, put some spray on it, cooking oil spray on it. You could use any oil that you like. Vegan oil, you have a preference, I know probably that you have one oil over the other, and you put that on it. We use the Redneck BBQ Lab seasoning on this. This seasoning, as well as the sauce, can be found at our website, www.theredneckbarbecuelab.com. There's a tab up there at the top that says Find Our Sauce. You go on there, you click on the tab, put your zip code in, your search radius, press a button, you can find our rubs and sauces, cornbread mix, and soon you'll be able to find some of the other stuff like the apparel, the hats and shirts and t-shirts you guys keep asking for. We hear you, it's coming, stay patient. I always say that. So put a little bit more of that rub on top of it, and that rub, we threw it into a smoker. We cooked these at 275 for 45 minutes. These weren't done. It's barbecue. Give yourself time. Whenever you think it takes an hour, give yourself 2 hours to cook with barbecue. Everybody knows that, that's barbecue. That's one of the rules. Do it. It's not like baking bread, 45 minutes and done. Or better yet, pressing that microwave for that 2.5 minutes for that burrito. It's barbecue. Give yourself some time. These actually took about an hour and 15 minutes to get to the stage where we wanted them. Once they got to the stage where we wanted them, we put some sauce on them. We put a little bit more rub, threw them back in there to set that sauce, what we were talking about earlier, and voila, here we have it. Vegan as can be, barbecue as can be, heck yeah. Barbecue is a noun, it's a verb, it's an adverb, it's a preposition. It's anything barbecue is what you want to be. The only thing that's not barbecue is something somebody's put into a can on a shelf and put the words on it, BBQ. That's not barbecue. Barbecue can be anything you would want to do on your grill and your smoker in your backyard, for someone especially. That's just the key components. Cooking something with your own hands in your backyard, your own smoker, your own grill, using your own techniques, using your own rubs or your own spices, or someone else's own rubs and spices. Is completely up to you. But that is barbecue. This is barbecue. And I'm getting ready to tuck into these and see how I did today. So I'm gonna try one without sauce first, and then we're gonna go with. Oh yeah, Man, needs more rub for me, a little bit more salt. Smoky as can be, good texture. The skin, what we had talked about, what we were trying to achieve, that skin, you know, of like that nectarine type skin, that's it. The inside is still firm but soft. It's chewy, but it's got a really, really, really good texture to it. And it's got that smoky flavor that we love in barbecue. I'm gonna put a little bit more sauce on this. Only thing I think that this may need for me would be just a little bit more salt. No, sir. Y'all ain't died, gone to heaven and see a ghost right here. This is Jerry Stevenson, the Chief Redneck in Charge at the BBQ Lab, Redneck BBQ Lab, eating vegan tofu ribs, and they're good. Highly encourage you to try yourselves. All those people out there are shaking their heads, saying, what in the world is this boy doing? All my meat eaters out there, try these. Well worth the effort, well worth the time. Nutritious, really, really good. I'm gonna hurt these later off camera, promise you that. Anyway, I'm Jerry Stevenson. I am the Chief Redneck in Charge at the Redneck BBQ Lab, McGee's Crossroad, Benson, North Carolina. Here today in these RBL studios with my friend Mike Baker, webcasting. Mike is the guy that creates the magic here. The one being patient with me as I flub through these videos and do these videos for you guys. He's doing the same reason for you that I do. Remember that. Go like this channel, subscribe to it, click on that bell, this YouTube channel. Very important, that bell will tell you when the live stuff drops as well as the premieres and the new videos, and share this with your friends. Like I said, Mike, myself are doing this for you guys. We want you guys to get out. We want you to cook for other people, and we cook for yourselves, cook for your friends, your neighbors, significant others. Get together, make a plate of barbecue, make some smiles, make some memories, do it yourself, do it in your backyard. So anyway, vegan tofu ribs, barbecue tofu ribs, Redneck approved, promise you that. Till next time, folks, we'll see you guys here in the RBL studios. Please be kind to one another, smile a lot, be patient with one another, pass that positivity around, suppress that negativity. Let's make this world a better place. It starts with you, it starts with me. Let's do it together. Much love for y'all. Take care.